I'm Alex Heron.
And I'm Shane Lister, and this is World News at 8.
We start today with breaking news on Nazi Germany and Japan. New harsh information was discovered today.
Joining us now is Matthew Romeo live at the Auschwitz concentration camp in Poland.
Yeah, I've seen things I never thought I would ever see. Both Japan and Nazi Germany have set out to spread new order to their countries and others. After spending the day here, we have witnessed brutal things that we are learning to be the acts of Nazi Germany. I am here at what they call concentration camps, where millions of people are being shipped each day, children and adults, mostly of Jewish religion. They're being tortured, labored, and executed each day as a result of the Nazi genocide. The goal of these camps is to cleanse Germany of non-Aryan race, a description that Hitler deems pure. Women, men, and children of all ages are going to these camps, and what has been discovered has been quite disturbing. You may be wondering why this Nazi genocide and hatred for other cultures is happening. Hitler and the Nazi regime look at these people, which not only include Jews, but handicaps, gypsies, and other races, as inferior. The process these victims are going through is terrible. Jews are sent to these camps and stripped of all clothes and belongings. Families are separated and their heads are shaved. Worst of all, to execute Jews in mass numbers, Nazi soldiers tell imprisoned that they are showering, but instead are operating a large killing using deadly gas in these chambers. This is a harsh execution process the Germans are carrying out that must be stopped. Back to you in the studio to continue with the latest on Japan's endeavors.
Thank you, Matt. Now for the latest on Japan. They are dominating Asia and the Pacific, preaching anti-imperialism. They have created the Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere and are spreading the ideas of Asians being free of Western culture. It has been proven, however, that they are just attempting to create Japanese empire. The underlying secret is that Japan is treating people of Asian countries brutally. They have expanded into countries such as China, Malaysia, and the Philippines. Throughout these areas, civilians are being tortured and killed. People are banned from access to food crops and Allied radio broadcasts. Most killed if caught. They have clearly seized control and established power. Both these countries have started in the direction of building empires and have asserted their role in this war. Isn't that terrible news, Alex?
Yes it is, Shane. Stay tuned for more information on this topic.
Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, sounds great. It's a good deal. Can't wait.
Who are you talking to at 3 in the morning?
John from State Farm.
What are you wearing, John from State Farm?
Sweatpants.
She sounds hideous.
She's a guy, so.
Another reason more people stay with State Farm. Get to a better state.
Welcome back. We continue with information on the Allied powers. The big three, Roosevelt, Churchill, and Stalin, have agreed to finish the war in Europe before worrying about the domination of Japan in Europe.
Despite these plans to solve the conflicts of the war, these leaders face distrust between one another. For example, new reports have said Churchill thought Stalin wanted to dominate Europe, and Roosevelt felt the same about Churchill. Stalin accused Western powers of wanting to end communism also, but not opening up a front in Western Europe. Stalin thought Roosevelt and Churchill were trying to weaken the Soviet Union, while the British and Americans insisted they did not have the resources. This is a reality of distrust that exists between these countries, despite their common goal to end the war.
These countries' leaders do not fully trust each other, but they still committed to total war. Britain and the United States, being democratic governments, increased political power and directed economic resources into war efforts. Factories have been ordered to stop producing daily products and have started making airplanes and tanks. By changing production, unemployment has went away, a good result of the Allies' involvement in war. Democratic governments took stiffer control over decisions and have limited the rights of citizens. They have also started to use more propaganda and have censored the press. Japanese Americans and Japanese Canadians lost their jobs, property, and civil rights. Americans have forced the Japanese into internment camps after being identified as a security risk. Similar things have been happening in Britain, with the British imprisoning Germans.
We will keep you posted for more on the disagreements and distrust between the Allied leaders and their devotion to war these powers have committed to.
Stay tuned.
for the women in your life.
We now turn our attention to the battles and advances of the Allied powers on the Axis powers that are greatly shaped the outcome of the war. The battles of El Alamein and the invasion of Italy have been major turning points of the war. Earlier, Brandon, another correspondent of World News, interviewed Jonathan Maldonado.
Thank you, Alex. We start by taking you through the Battle of El Alamein. Tell us about what you know.
This is the battle where Rommel's advance was stopped by the British. Rommel is the leader of Desert Fox, who the British defeated, driving the Axis powers back further. Recently, American and British forces teamed up to trap Rommel's army by advancing on Tuzmia from the west. Rommel's army later surrendered. This battle led up to Allies leaping across the Mediterranean into Italy, first Sicily, then southern Italy. This would soon be the invasion of Italy, another turning point of the war. Italian forces were defeated in about a month and Mussolini was overthrown. Despite the Italian government signing on armistice, Hitler sent his troops into reserve. Mussolini and therefore continued fighting. The Allies suffered heavy losses, but this became a decisive event because it forced Hitler to fight on another front. Both of these battles shifted momentum and opened up both sides to experience different styles of fighting. Well, go back to you in the studio after the break.
Ha! Very funny, Kyle!
They're magically delicious.
We return to talk about two more important battles that have been major turning points in the war. The Battle of Stalingrad and the invasion of France are becoming even more influential in how this war turns out as we speak. Hitler broke out of being stalled in Moscow and Leningrad by aiming for southern rich oil fields. His plan worked until Stalingrad became a place of violence. Hitler approached the Battle of Stalingrad eager to capture an area named after Stalin. Germany surrounded the city, but Russians fought back and this battle became one of the costliest battles so far in the war. The Germans resisted terrible losses until food and ammunition disappeared and they were forced to surrender to Stalin and the Soviet Union. This outcome had so much importance because approximately 300,000 killed, wounded, or captured soldiers have been recorded. The Soviet Union then took the offensive and freed the city of any Germans. Hitler and his troops suffered the loss of soldiers and equipment, while Soviet troops advanced in Eastern Europe.
The most recent battle will arguably be the most remembered for years to come. Led by Eisenhower, a United States commander, the Allied troops geared up to open a second front in Europe, one that involved the invasion of France. In preparation, Allied troops flew constant missions over Germany and destroyed any factories or aircraft that may have affected their plan. Numerous German cities were bombed as well. It was on June 6th, not too long ago, that 200,000 Allied troops were ferried in across the English Channel, and troopers were dropped behind enemy lines. They fought their way inland until they escaped German defenses and advanced towards Paris. The Allied forces also sailed into southern France. French resistance drove Germans to retreat, and Allies freed France. The last two countries to now take on is Germany itself and Japan. These two battles have further weakened Germany and made them vulnerable. However, keep in touch on our mobile app for the latest news and information. We will be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. for a fresh hour of news. Until then, have a good night.